Real talks with triumphs. Turn it up.
Thank you very much. I'm always like, that's me? Like,
You got to be an adult. This is how this happens. This is how this works.
You can learn from anyone.
That was some good cheese.
It was.
There's always a possibility that you get something if you try. If you don't put your name in the hat, then no one's gonna know who you are. And they may not accept you the first time, the second time, the third or fourth time, but they're gonna remember your name. Somebody is always gonna say yes. And it may not be immediately, and that's okay. But it will be at some time when someone says yes to you. And all you want is one person. Fear limits us. And if we are not fearful and we just take a step forward, there's so many other doors or things that can open up for us if we just try.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode. Today, we are blessed to have Dr. Danielle Nicole Williams with us. She is a catalyst that unlocks hidden talents, propels potential, and elevates others to create spaces where our unique differences are celebrated. She is the founder and CEO of Stigma Consulting Group, a pioneering advocate transforming the landscape of special education. With over 15 years as an educator, administrator, and legal advocate, Dr. Williams champions inclusion, equity, and empowerment for all students with disabilities. Her mission is to turn potential into power and possibilities for every child, every family, every day. Driven by a passion for inclusion, Dr. Williams champions her motto, potential, power, possibilities. She is the founder of the groundbreaking Twilight Alternative High School, and she brings over 15 years of leadership and 12 years of educational leadership, 12 years of legal advocacy to ensure students with disabilities receive the rights and opportunities they deserve. Beyond Stigma Consulting, Dr. Williams chairs the New York State Commissioner's Advisory Panel for Special Education and serves in national leadership roles with Jack and Jill of America and several educational and cultural boards. A nationally recognized trainer and speaker, she has presented at leading conferences across the country. Above all, she is a devoted wife and mother whose two sons inspire her mission to ensure every child with a disability is treated with dignity and respect. Please welcome Dr. Danielle Nicole Williams, also known as Dr. Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining the podcast today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Love you. Thank you. Let's get it going. How are you guys doing today?
Going. Woo, that's a lot.
A lot?
Woo! And it is wonderfully, wonderfully beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. We are so excited to have you on. Just let's get into it. How did this all come about? Where did you go ahead, Loud? Ask the question.
That is the question, my lady, Dr. Williams. Where did you get started in all these beautiful endeavors? How did it first start for you?
So, gosh, I'm trying to think way back. It's been a while. So originally, I'll be transparent, I never thought I would get into education at all. That was not my thing. That was not my vision. I never even thought I'd be a parent. So let's be fully transparent. I was like, no, that's not my life. I'm going to be a lawyer like my mom. And her name was Patricia Satterfield. She was the first African-American judge elected in Queens. And I thought I was going to follow in her footsteps. I got the education bug working in Virginia as an attorney. And I was working for a waterworks company in Richmond and decided to be an adjunct professor at Virginia State University. That's the truth. And I was a poli-sci teacher, and I was always having the students write and talk about political science. And my cousin, shout out to Janelle Badu, said, Danny, come up to New York and being a teacher fellow. I was like, I don't want to teach. I was like, no, I don't like kids. No, it's not me. I don't want to do that. I was like, I'm out. I didn't want to teach children. And she said, just do it. You have a knack for it. You to teach. I was like, what? I was in the middle of a trial. And in the middle of my trial, I literally drove up to New York, slept on my parents' couch, did the teaching fellows, did the interview, and I was going to be a social studies teacher, which I still wasn't special education, but I was a social studies teacher. And somebody on the line, I still can't remember who they are to this day, said you should be a special, check off special education too. Because they always need lawyers in special education. You always have a job, and they need your skill set. So I checked it. And that's how I got into this realm of special education. And then it went from there. I started working at 217 and got into working with children, but I realized that the state exam absolutely did not say there's a students with disabilities exam. There was no. I would tell my kids all the time, listen to me, you are general ed kids who learn differently. My job is to figure out your differences and get you to be successful. Because there's no special ed tests. We're in New York State. There's no special ed Regents tests. There's nothing. There is a test with accommodations. So I had to learn how to meet my children where they were so that they could succeed on those state exams. That's how I got started in special ed. And I started working at 217. I worked there for 10 years, and then moved up to work with the Chancellor Farina and just started opening up spaces. The more and more research, and then I have my own children. And my oldest is on the autism spectrum. And I started really, after the trauma of me understanding who he was. And I say trauma because what I learned is that I was mourning the child I thought I was going to have. That's what I had to do. I had to mourn him to learn the child that I have. Yeah. And then I had another son. I actually lost a son in between, and then I had another son, both who have IEPs. And so once I learned to accept my children for exactly who they are and their learning, that's when I started going into spaces. I was at lawyers' offices. I was advocating. Then I got into the commissioner's advisory panel. Any opportunity was there for me to just do. And I've always learned that in my life. I'm a person who will apply to everything. It doesn't mean I'm going to get everything. I'll just apply to everything.
Why is that?
Somebody has to tell me no, I'm all right, but I'm not going to not try.
And why is that? Why do you think?
It's my drive and intuition. I know you met my husband recently. I'm intense. So I'm just like, oh, this is a good opportunity. Let me try this. See how that's how my husband describes me. But I just feel like that's what I want to say when I started my company, Potential, Power, and Possibilities. There's always a possibility to get something if you try. If you don't put your name in the hat, then no one's going to know who you are. And they may not accept you the first time, the second time, the third or fourth time, but they're going to remember your name. And my name is my brand, what I do, how I present. So I'm always willing to try something new. And even what I'm doing right now is completely not what I would be doing, getting ready to do a half marathon. I'm like, what? Yeah, I'm always looking at myself and going, let me try something. But if I don't try, then I won't know what I can do. Right? So that's been instilled in me all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
If you don't try, you won't know what you can do.
You won't know. Somebody is always going to say yes. And it may not be immediately, and that's okay. But it will be at some time where someone says yes to you. And all you want is one person. Just one person to give you a yes. You're good to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Danielle, I'd love for you to talk more about Stigma Consulting and all of the things that you're involved in, and we could take it from there.
Great. So, Stigma Consulting, stigma symbolizes student timely IEP growth modification advocates. And so why did I start this company? Why did I start doing what I wanted to do for Stigma. I was a parent who was afraid and didn't know anything about what was happening in my life. I just couldn't figure it out. And I was so confused and so intimidated by the school systems and everything that was happening that I couldn't, I was, first of all, I was emotional, right? I found out my son originally was diagnosed with other health impairment. Then we figured out it was autism, and that was a whole emotional realm.
Mm.
Then I'm trying to get him all the services and try to figure out what services does he need to be the most successful. Because when I spoke about my child's IEP, I would tell the team from kindergarten, hey, he's going to college. How is his IEP getting him there? Period.
Wow.
And they were looking at me like I was crazy. I said, well, let's begin. Because this is what I need for my son. This is what I need for him. And so I learned that I could not only help school systems, but also help parents like myself. So Stigma is split into two. It's working right now. I work in New York. I'm in Maryland. I'm in Virginia. And I go into schools and I really help them navigate special education in many different realms. Curriculum, learning how to do the ICT or integrated collaborative teaching models correctly. IEP compliance, how to write an IEP. What are we working with behaviors? Are we doing behavior intervention plans? Are we doing multi-tiered systems of supports? I do a lot of different things because special ed is a real huge umbrella. There is
and
not a cavern.
For those that don't know, what is an IEP?
Sorry, I know I start talking about special ed needs and then I start going, my apologies. IEP is an individualized education plan. So culturally, let's be honest, culturally, people look at IEPs and say, oh, a child goes into special ed and they stay there for the rest of their lives. That is absolutely incorrect and wrong. Special education is a combination of services individualized for a student to help them academically, socially, or emotionally. Students can have IEPs for their emotional well-being. They can have it for their academic well-being. And what happens is we have the stigma, and that stigma really scares people that I don't want my kid in special ed because they're always going to be special ed and they're always going to be identified as special ed. No, but if you're working with the school system, and I say this all the time, advocacy is not adversarial. I say that all the time for a reason. If you're working and collaborating with your school systems, you could get what you want from your children. There's some children that are going to have an IEP all the way through high school. My oldest is that one. But my youngest, he may not have an IEP in high school. He may just need a little counseling, resetting, and transition work. So it's really looking at those children individually to give them what they need instead of lumping them all together. So what my company does is we assist parents in not only navigating school systems, but we work with schools to help them with their teachers, with culture, with relationships. We do parent workshops. We do community resources. For example, I'm going to do a shameless plug. My husband and I, through Stigma, started, and he is the president of the CEC Council here in 29. We started the history fair. That was our invention in the backyard of my house.
Wow.
In this house. We were talking about history, and I was like, I'm tired of everybody doing a science fair. I want to do a history fair. And that's how the history fair came about.
Needed.
Now we're 10 years in doing this citywide, Queensboro-wide history fair.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, actually, my son won the history fair.
Did he?
Yeah, I
What?
think my son he came in first or second. I can't remember, but both my kids participated in the history fair, and we were so excited, to do his project. He actually did something on the Newsies, and he had a board, and it played music.
Oh, that was your child? Yes.
Yes.
Oh, this is really funny. Because I graded your child.
Wow.
Because those are things I remember every year. And I've been Liz, oh my God, your child did the one that's Newsy. That's so funny.
Thank you. And he
That is
was,
awesome.
I think first or second grade.
Yeah.
And my daughter, she did one on the wall, I'm drawing a blank. Gorbachev.
Yeah, Berlin Wall.
Wow.
Yeah, the Berlin Wall. Yeah.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, well, 10 years in, we're still doing it, but so now that I'm dabbling in not only advocacy for stigma, I'm also working with adults. So I haven't just limited myself to children. So I'll tell you this story to give you context. So both of my sons have IEPs, one autism, and the other one speech and language impairment. I've dealt with this all my life, right? Since they were both 3. And now they're 17 and 13 respectively. But every time I've been in a position, and I've worked at various different positions as a teacher, executive director, a high school AP, and my own founding school, I've had difficulties after the first 3 years. I'll be honest with you about that. And I haven't received tenure in some places because of it. And I remember about 3 years ago, I was like, the studies show that a parent who has disabilities, has children with disabilities, and I would be considered twice exceptional. I went to college at 16, graduated at 20, but I also was in school in Montessori for speech. So the speaking that you see now is not what I used to do when I was a little girl. And still, if I get really upset, I mumble and I have to be really clear and over enunciates sometimes. So this year, I was having some difficulty in the last position I was in. And I said, maybe I should just get tested. I need to get tested for myself, for my own clarity. I don't care. So I decided to do this exam. I love my doctors. And I found out at 52 years old, the anniversary will be January 29th. How ironic is the billboard coming out January 29th?
Wow.
Very symbolic. But that is the day that I found out that I am an adult with ASD, combined presentation, and severe ADHD at 52.
Wow.
And the report came out. I spoke to the doctors because I remember when I did the test, and I have always, no, not always, I was a terrible SAT, PSAT, LSAT. No. Dr. Williams would not be Dr. Williams if those were the indication of anything that I did in my life. Absolutely not. No. Tanked them. Lowest 5%. Yes, you can hear that on the internet. Lowest 5%, not happening. No. But when at 27, when I started learning how to take exams, where I do 10 questions of multiple choice to take a 10-minute break. And then with an essay, I do an essay and take a 20-minute break. It doesn't matter how long the test is. Yeah. I was really successful. I know I have to study. I can't just cram. It doesn't work. I'll fail every time. All those things about me happen. I was taking this exam, and I took it for 8 hours. It's in the city. I drive out, and I parked my car immediately and said, I can't drive anymore. Mentally, I was physically shaking and exhausted. I could not drive. Called a girlfriend of mine and said, I can't drive. I'm so tired from this exam. I can't move. I don't know what to do. She walked me through, let me take a nap, call the doctor, took a nap in the car for half an hour, got to Queens near Francis Lewis High School, went to a restaurant, stopped again, ate, and then I got home. And what it did was give me a true appreciation of what it means for our students and adults with disabilities when they take exams and how tired they are, and particularly my sons. I'm asking these kids to do all these tests, and then I want you to continue at school for what? I was mentally deficient. I mean, done. I couldn't think clearly. I just wanted to watch cartoons, and they really helped me to understand.
After that, yeah.
Yeah, it really just gave me, like, I remember apologizing to my sons, and I was telling them, I said, well, guess what? Mommy found out that she's on the autism spectrum with ADHD behaviors, and they're severe. And they both looked at me and said, so you're like us. And I went, oh, well, my heart sank. because I was like, am I putting too much pressure on these kids? Oh my God. The tears start running in my eyes. And they were just like, no, no, no. And we could be like you. So we could be Dr. Williams too. We could do that. I was like, yes.
Oh, look at that.
Man. But it was a moment of connection for us.
Mm-hmm.
That all the things that I've been doing, the structure that I give my children and myself was needed for us to be functional. But we're functional. We're doing great. We're doing these things. And so that was really important as well. And that's how I got into Stigma, kind of like a full circle. I started it based on my children, but now I realize I need Stigma for me. And that's really important.
Yeah. And just what an amazing, I know that, you were exhausted that day and you were coming to, the realization of that, but how amazing is it that your kids can, let's say, look at you and see that, mommy's this awesome person. She's doing this. She's accomplished that. She can all that. And she's just like me. So now I can do that as well. Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Big full circle woman.
I wish we had you because we have a child with disability, and we've gone through the IEP, and it was years before we were able to really get the services that were suitable for him. And
right.
The work that you're doing is so important, parents.
Thank you.
Advocacy and everything. So thank you so much for the work.
You're welcome. So what I would say is knowledge is power. The test really opened myself up to a couple of things internally working on me. So one, getting tested was all for me. As parents, we do everything for our kids first, right? That's what we do. And we don't focus on ourselves. I needed to focus on me to help, because I'm 53, and I was like, my next 50 years, I want to do things differently. I want to know things differently. I want to try things differently. So it helped me to understand things that I struggled with since I was a kid and go, oh, so now what can I do? Perfect example. We're doing this podcast and I have a little notepad. So I write little cue notes to remember the question, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm answering your question. But I always have to have a notepad now in every car, in my purse. I have a small little, those little dollar store notepads. Mm-hmm. And I just can write things down so I can remember. That's what I need. It's not a big deal. It's not a hindrance. It doesn't look crazy. It's just what I need, right, to remember things. I would say the testing really will connect you to yourself and understanding who you are as a person, what your limitations are, which is not a bad thing in terms of our growth, and then what you can excel at so you can keep moving forward. I am a lifelong learner. Just because I'm in my 50s doesn't mean I have stopped. I have not stopped. I still want to learn and I still want to keep going no matter what. So for me, it's the test opened my eyes to just what can Danielle do and how can Danielle change in these different realms. That was really important to me. Fear limits us. I would say that to you, Sean. Fear limits us. It limits us. And if we are not fearful and we just take a step forward, there's so many other doors or things that can open up for us if we just try. I was nervous when I went. I didn't know these two individuals from Adam, but when I read my report and go, wow, okay, I remember this as a little girl and this, it gives me a lot of clarity, and I liked that clarity in my life.
Thank you. Thank you so much. What's something you're most proud of, both professionally and personally?
Gosh. I can go back to the little girl days. Oh my gosh. I'll do professionally first. When I finished my tenure with the Commissioners Advisory Panel, so I am the past chairman, but when I became like the first African American to be chairman of the Commissioners Advisory Panel, female. That was a big deal for me because
Yeah, that is a big deal.
Absolutely.
I took a chance. Let's be honest. My husband applied first, and he was like, "One of us got to get it." So then I applied. He didn't get it, and I got it. I'm like, let's be honest.
Come on now.
So he does the CEC stuff, right? And I'm like, all right, it's your realm. So I'm gonna stay out your realm. And I'm doing the state stuff. And he's like, I'm staying out your realm. So that's the truth, right? He'll send me stuff. Like my husband just sent me something. We're doing a history fair for the National History Day, and they need judges. He was like, you should do this. And I was like, all right, I'll apply. And now I'm gonna be one of the judges.
Okay. Wow.
But he encourages me too to do that kind of stuff. Shout out to Alan David Williams Sr. But
Big
that's
shout out.
exactly
Big shout out.
like, you know,
Shout out to
do this.
Williams.
Right. And he'll say, do this. And I'm like, all right, I'll do it. And then I get an interview, and now I'm going to be a judge in June for the National History Competition. So it's in Maryland. I could drive to Maryland. It's like, but it's a great opportunity to look at kids all over the country to see what they're doing in history. Maybe you learn something from them and what they've done. So I'm like, let's do it. But that's also, and what we talked about before, Samara, that's also connection.
Yes.
That helps people we do a history fair, so why don't they know about ours? But we follow the National History Fair standards, so why not know about ours? Why not invite them and say, hey, come and put it on a website and stuff? You know, you never know.
Absolutely.
You never know who you'll meet and who you connect with.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's so you said my professional, that was chairman of the Commissioner Advisory Panel. Personally, so it's a combination of a couple things. One, I used to be a swimmer. I still love water. And when I did like a marathon in swimming, see, this is what's funny to me. The marathon on foot is the issue. The one in the water, I'd be like, yay, right? So like freaking out about this one on the 24th. I'm just like, just give me a pool. I'll do 80 laps if you want me to. So I did this marathon, and I did 85 laps, raising money.
Wow.
And I was only 15 at the time.
85
Because I got to high
laps.
school when I was 16. I did 80 full straight laps. And I just kept going and kept going. And I was exhausted, but I kept going, and I did it. And I raised like $5,000. And I was so proud of myself that I did that, because people were like getting out the pool, going home. And I was like, nope, I'm going until they make me get out this pool. Wow. And that drive is something that's really important. I think my next the proudest moment is now, because you haven't seen the picture. I'll show you the picture. I did a photo shoot, part of goals that I'm doing for this, our executive, I call it executive leadership program. And I got this nickname from everybody there, Dr. Beautiful, that's now stuck. And I'm like, I'm taking it.
There you go.
And-
Own it. Own it. Own it.
Own it. Just own it. So part of my goal is I wanted to be on a Times Square billboard to show uniqueness and beauty, to show my scars that are now turning into beauty marks.
I love it.
Women with alopecia, that we are still beautiful even though we have no hair. And I remember talking to Sahuri before I did the photo shoot, and she was like, remember, Danielle, you're doing this for all of us.
Yeah. Ooh.
You're not doing it just for you.
That's for
You're
you.
doing this for all of us. So I have the picture. I'm
Okay.
excited. It's going to be on the billboard on January 29th, the exact, literally 1 year later from the day I got my diagnosis. Because January 29th was the day I did the testing.
What?
That is very true. That is very true. I all connected as I'm talking to you. I was like, oh yeah, January 29th was the day I did the testing last year.
Wait, so
Yeah.
So Dr. Williams, I'm sorry. So you're going to be on a Times Square billboard?
Above the Pele soccer store on January 29th, 15-second intervals.
Let's
With the
go,
press on,
Doctor. Let's go.
God. Yeah, and the whole thing is about being beautiful and where you are in your life. And the picture shows my scars and the eczema and this and all how we're
Wow.
turning them into beauty marks instead of things that we're ashamed of.
That's right. Embrace it.
Yeah.
Embrace it. Amen.
That's why they call it Dr.
I
Beautiful.
know that. Come on now.
Yeah.
Pick a few standout moments from your journey so far. If you could pick a few, what would they be? I mean, you talked about some of them already.
I was salutatorian instead of valedictorian. Yes, I'm competitive. Laughing. I was like, "Wow, how many points?" Like I was like that.
I get it.
That taught me that even being number two is still better than being nothing at all. I remember that. In college, so the hair journey is funny. I've lost my hair 3 times before I became completely bald. And I lost my hair at Hampton University. And my friend, Joy Harvey, I call her my Miss Hampton. She'll see it and go, "Oh my gosh, you mentioned me." Yes, I do. There was a talent show, fashion show. And she kind of like dared me to apply. And I was like, "I'm not a model. What are you talking about? This is me. What are you talking about? I'm in choir. I'm chilling. I'm in concert choir, this choir." And she said, "Do it." And I did it and I got in. And I said, "Are you kidding me?" And something that revealed from the photo shoot was that orange is a good color for me. And I hardly wear orange, right?
Okay.
Color schemes and things. And the outfit that I wore was an all black turtleneck dress with an orange coat. And then one of the pictures from the photo shoot has orange in it. So that was just very symbolic for me. But me doing that modeling, walking down a one-way in front of everybody at Hampton University, that was a big moment. That was a big confidence moment.
Yeah,
Um,
that's big.
Trying to do law school. When I got accepted to law school, I didn't get accepted my first year, but I got accepted my second year. And I stayed at home and worked for a judge and worked to get into law school. That was huge. Very huge because I didn't just let the failure kill me, right? I always tell my students, my last set of students that I have, I would give them a copy of my resume, right? And they would look at it and go, "Oh my God, we're so impressed." I was like, "Don't be." I said, because between every line, there is a failure. And I remember every line, every skip, failure, 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 failure. But these failures have brought me into why I keep trying and going for it. And I want you to have grounding and grit that you're going to fail. You're going to fail. Let's not say, "No, you will." How do you get back up and continue? And some days you recover faster than others. Sometimes it takes years to recover, but recover and keep moving on. So that's a moment. Definitely, I lost my son, Mother's Day 2010. His name is Danielle Nicole. He was stillborn. And what I learned from that experience, because I had the strength to go through that tragedy and then have my third son, Aaron Nicholas. I'm stronger than I think.
Ooh, yes. Amen.
I'm stronger than I think. Much stronger than I think.
Absolutely.
Because I lost my son on Mother's Day 2010. Wow. So Mother's Day is always a very interesting day for me of loss and joy, right? But I learned that line for me, I'm stronger than I think. And then I think definitely when I got married, my husband, I was so nervous and I was not ready. And I was like, "This can't be happening to me," because I never thought I would get married and have children. And I remember my dad holding me and I was like, "Dad, I can't do this. I'm not ready." And he just looked at me in my eyes and said, "You deserve this." And kind of pushed me out. You know, he pushed me a little bit, had a little lunch.
Yeah.
But he also knows his daughter performs, right? So I ain't gonna look ugly. I ain't gonna look crazy. So because he lunged me out, I'm walking down, right? But it was a moment of joy and a moment of acceptance, of worthiness.
Yes.
You deserve this, Danielle. Yes, you can be, because you didn't think you were married, you have children. Yes, you can be married and have kids. So those things have happened in my life consistently, and that's what I try to bring to my children and my household and the community of understanding our worthiness in the world. Yeah, yeah,
And I think that's something too that, a lot of women struggle with. I mean, myself, my husband's on here. He's listening. But it took me years to get to the point where I felt worthy, even after being
yeah.
the wedding, you know?
Right, right.
But yeah, I thank you for that.
Yeah.
Um,
All I can say is witness.
earlier, we were talking offline,
Mhm.
about the impact that your mother has had on you
Yeah.
and in giving you, kind of pushing you out,
Mhm.
um, and giving you that courage. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So my mother was a dynamic woman. She was a force, and what I our relationship had wonderful moments and hard moments, but that's just what mothers and daughters do, right? But one thing my mom taught me was how to work a room. That's what she said.
Mm,
Learn how to
yeah.
work a room. And my mother was a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. She was a Link. And I remember going to functions with her as a little girl or as a teenager. And she would give me her purse and be like, Danny, I need you to find 5 people that you've met and network and talk to them about what you're doing right now. And I'm going to go over here and I'll meet you back at the table in an hour. Like, you would go.
Wow.
No questions. Like, what? What? Like, what? Um, and my mother used to always say, work a room.
Hmm.
She would have, before my mother passed, she was awarded the Ellis Island Medal of Honor for her work as the first African American judge in Queens. And
What?
I remember, and this comes up with worthiness, I remember her saying, little old me, do you think I deserve this? And we were like, absolutely 100%. You're a pioneer, you're this. But even in her 70s and 80s, she felt that way.
Yeah.
So we had a party for her, and everybody's coming in with their groups. You know that how it works. And I remember her statement was, "If you leave this setting, thank you for celebrating me. I love you. Blah blah blah." And then she would go into Patricia Satterfield. If you leave this setting without meeting something new, you have meeting someone new, you have missed an opportunity.
Wow.
Mm.
At her own celebration,
Wow.
where she said, do not stand next to the same people you're standing next to. Move. Find someone new. Take a chance. You never know the impact they can have on your life or the impact you can have on theirs.
Mm.
Stop staying in your cliques. And don't get me wrong, my mother was part of organizations and this. But when she went to places, she was gone. She was never standing. And I definitely have taken that from her because I go into a room and I'm just like, I can go by myself. Not because I'm an only child, but because I talk to people and want to get to know people and want to learn from them. And you can learn from anyone. It doesn't matter their status. We forget that. We start elevating our statuses and saying, oh, I can only talk to that person. No, because this person can be this person tomorrow.
Yes.
The kindness and the joy and the things you're supposed to be talking to people about, right? So that's something I learned from her that I always take. I'm always working in a room, talking about people in the room, talking to people, saying hello, getting to know different people, and trying my best to learn your world and to also learn mine in the conversations. So my mom had that influence on me. She was a lawyer and I was an attorney too. She was a music teacher
Oh,
and I
nice.
sing as well. So we swapped. So my mom became a music teacher and then a lawyer and a judge. I went from being a lawyer and got into education. It's like, oh, we did the switch swap, which was
Mhm.
great. Um, But those influences she had on me were incredible, and she understood that I should always value people, not the position, and don't be afraid of anybody's position. You can talk. She would always say, Danny, you can talk to anybody.
You're right. You're right.
Don't be afraid. Introduce yourself. Be humble, but talk to anybody because you never know how it'll help.
100%. Oh my goodness.
Wow, some words of wisdom here.
Yeah.
Words of
Yeah.
indeed.
She would drive. And if you want to see who she is, you know, where I live, Tamara, our block is named after her. So it's a wonderful full circle moment that my sons, every time they walk down the street, they see Justice Patricia Satterfield Way on 230th between 131st and 133rd Avenue. They see their grandmother, and they're always like, hey, grandma, or we're doing this, or that is powerful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Dr. Williams, I say shout out to your mother. Shout out to the borough of Queens. Shout out to this community that we're in. You know, I tell people, you know, all the time, you know, we don't live in the hood. We live in neighborhoods. You know, this is not the hood. This is of people of to do. And by what you have just spoken on about your life and your family is 100% proof in that. You know, so Dr. Williams, thank you for being on with us. Thank you for sharing with us. And you know, it's just a beautiful placement. And for those that are going to see this podcast, to see where you've come from and where you are and what you're doing today, you know, I just say salutations on to you and salutations on to those who are watching. And may you gather something. So thank you, Dr. Williams.
You're welcome. Thank you.
There's so many amazing things that you have done in your lifetime, and many, many more to come. I was so intrigued about the trail.
Oh,
Yes.
came from my mother and then passed on to me. Yep, I know. The trail.
Can you talk a little bit about
the Heritage Trail, right? In
the
Middlesex
Heritage
County.
Trail? Yes.
Okay. So when my mom had to retire, right? She was 70. She had to retire. The judges can't go past 70. She went down to Saluda, Virginia, a very small town in Virginia, where she's from. And we were trying to figure out, and then my father passed away 5 years later, and she was in this precipice of, what am I going to do? And my mother always has loved history, always. That's where I got my history bug from her. And she found this trail that it was society, the Middlesex County Heritage Committee, part of Middlesex County, Virginia, which is about 40 minutes inward to water from Williamsburg, if you want a context.
Okay.
An hour from Richmond. Newport News, an hour down 17 to give you that context. So they're water people. Right?
Yeah, no.
Crab, oysters, stuff like that. Gotcha. You know, in this small community, a lot of times culture starts disappearing when we don't consistently look at it. Let's say that. And so there is a strong African American community in Middlesex County. And my mom was to pride herself that she was the valedictorian of her high school class. Mind you, there were only 10 people. But you know, I got to find that joke. But she was valedictorian. Look, can't take the title. Can't take the title. So, but there was this group of African Americans. I mean, roads and churches and education. And my grandfather was the first African American dentist in that county. So pretty much everybody in my family is a first. Yes, that is true. I got my first before my parents died because I was like, yeah, the pressure's on and I got to get it. But everybody in my family is a first.
Yeah.
So
Not too many people that can say that. Wow.
No.
Yeah, and I wrote them down. I do have them down because I was like, look, I got to know. So my grandfather was Grady Harvard Polson. Was the first African American dentist in Middlesex County. Everybody in the county now who's older, anybody. My grandfather did their teeth, the dentist. And he graduated Hampton. Like I told you, I'm Hamptonian. I'm like 7 generations in. Grandfather graduated from Hampton. He also did dentistry at Howard. You know, we got that mix. Fast forward, my mom started this group to really find the heritage and preserve the heritage of African Americans in the county. So we've been working. She died, unfortunately, in September 6, 2023.
God bless.
And, you know, she was the chairman. And so they were like, we need you to be the chairman. I was like, I don't even know anything about Virginia. I know about it and spent summers there, but I didn't know about it. You know what I mean? I'm from New York. I lived in Southern Queens. Well, I'm living in the house where I was raised in.
Wow.
So that's my history. Fast forward, I started doing more research and working with the committee. And finally, after 2-3 years, the committee created signs dealing with, some of them are education, health, sports, religion, and they made a heritage trail near the old, I better get it right because Poseidon will kill me, St. Clair Walker High School.
Okay.
And it's a trail where we worked with the Virginia Historical Society, and we authored those plaques, the ones that you saw tonight. We wrote them. And now they're in, and there's a whole trail of history that people could come to see. And now that we have the 250th anniversary of the United States of America, hopefully some of that commission will come and look at those parts of the society. But what it's done is really opened my eyes to the culture and how do we preserve African American or Caribbean American or minority American history throughout. Nothing's too small. That's what I learned from this experience. And I'm still on the committee. Nothing is too small that we should not know, because if we don't learn or preserve the history, we're going to lose it.
Yeah, it'll be forgotten.
Dr. Williams, you couldn't have said that any more clearer than how you just said it right there. Because that is so true. So true. I'm going to throw a question at you. On this life journey of yours, of just incredible feats and moments, what's one of the hardest decisions that you had to make as a professional?
I want to say as a professional and a mom, this was one of the hardest decisions I made, was when we changed my oldest son's IEP from other health impairment to autism.
Wow.
Because we knew that if we put autism, that he would get more services. And that fight wouldn't be harder. The fighting is going to be the imagery that you think of an autistic child. With OHI, we didn't think, other health impairment, we didn't think we were going to get as many services as Alan needed to become the Alan that we have right now.
Right.
That was a very hard decision for me. Even harder than both of my children needing medication so they could maintain. That wasn't hard. That was hard because it's the stigma of saying you're an African American child with autism and what people think of you because you're autistic. So now that I'm starting to, quote unquote, come out and tell people I have ASD, they're like, really? Or some people are like, well, we knew something. Yeah, but what does that something mean? What does it look like? What does it sound like? And it's still that stigma of, oh, she has ASD, so she's highly functional, so I won't be able to befriend her or talk to her or this. It's the same thing with the stigma of me being alopecia. Do you know how many people have said to me, knock on wood, oh, are you sick? No, I'm not. I'm just bald. Seriously. And having to explain my baldness. Did you choose to be bald? No, I didn't choose it. I don't know anybody who chooses to decide to shave their hair skin bald. I have not made that choice. This is what I have. I have alopecia, and it's alopecia totalis. right? So that's it. That's what I have.
Mm.
And so these stigmas and perceptions about the way we look, the way we sound, the way we talk, our beauty, our value are always there, right? And we have our technology, we have our phones, we have our imagery that say we have to be a certain way. Why? Why?
Yeah. Why?
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 And I don't use my sons. I don't say that, but my sons allow me. You know, I always ask permission when I do a podcast. Can I talk about you? They go, yes. But you know, my youngest son lost some of his hearing when he was younger. I remember when all he could say was the word frog, and he loved his book by Mo Williams, I'm a Frog.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all we would say is frog, frog, frog. And now he's making speeches and he's the treasurer of his 8th grade class and doing this.
Wow.
And he still struggles, but he struggles that confidence of who he is because other people are saying what he cannot do.
Mm.
And what I'm trying to teach my youngest Aaron as well as Alan is you may not get to your goal as fast as someone else, but you can get there. You can get there. Just keep moving forward. Like push, and I keep saying, push pace, push pace. Just take it. Just one day at a time. And I think that that's what I've learned overall about that. You know, those are my great moments and my hardest moments because the stigma is still there. I mean, look, I have a very deep, raspy voice. You know how many people say, "Hello, Mr. Williams"? I'm like, nope, I'm a
Uh-uh.
woman. No, I just keep moving. I just keep it moving. Like, nope, female. Trust me, I'm a woman. Keep it moving.
I
But you
don't
know,
hear it. I don't hear it. Why?
all the time, Samara.
Really?
On the top. Oh my God, all the time. Mr. Williams, nope, still a woman.
No.
I'm Dr. Williams from Danielle. Thank you. And I don't even. I used to get so upset by it. Oh my gosh, crying. I'm like, I've had this deep, raspy voice since I was 12 years old. It will not go anywhere. I remember when my oldest hated my voice. The tonality in my voice pierced his ears and he would scream.
Wow.
But he was a kid. Oh, yeah. So like I said, I'll try anything once. Went to Hofstra University. They said we could help you. They would put a mic on me, sit down 2 years of this, working with Alan on the different tonality of my voice. Because I always tell my clients and my parents, what are you really willing to do for your kid? I'm going to tell you what I was willing to do. I was willing to lose my job. I sat there for 2 years at Hofstra University on a screen. They were on the other side. I'm here playing with my son, changing tonality and words so he could deal with my voice. 2 years. It took me the first year to pass the first level. Because I was there so long, they asked me, can you be part of our study? I was like, yes. Because I was like, we're here every Thursday, sitting on the ground,
Wow.
and they're coaching me how to play with him and talk to him. So, like, for me, I do it so easily, right? I need you to pick up the silver glasses. I need you to pick up the red glasses. I need you to get the red shirt. Walk upstairs to the brown steps, and it goes like this.
Yeah.
I can't say to my children, either one of them, go get me the pen. Oh, no, I'm not getting that pen. No. I need you to go get me the black pen, please, on the dining room table that's black. And it just goes like this. I have to be more specific.
Yeah.
Right? I'm so used to it because all those years of training that I do it. But other people are not. And so I always say to people, what are you truly willing to do?
Yeah.
Because that was, I mean, literally, I considered getting I thought I was going to have to get a throat transplant or something. I mean, I was that like so
committed.
upset as a parent. My son hates my voice. Every time I open my mouth, he's screaming. Can you imagine? No connection. I was like, really? You won't even talk to me because no. So I was willing to do anything to get that done. And I think the stigma that is constantly projected in America and in this world hinders uniqueness. And I am so offended by that. It bothers me. Why can't we just all live in our skins
Yeah.
and do what we need to do for ourselves? Conformity bothers me. And I'm in organizations and things of that sort,
Yeah.
but I still am an outlier. Like, instead of me being embarrassed about that description now, I just look like, I'm an outlier, right? So
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
you know
Embrace
I'm
it.
not ever going to be in this box. You good, right? I'm going to think of something different. I'm going to try to do it differently, not because I don't think your way is great. My mind is always going to go like that.
Yeah. And
And
the world
instead
needs
of being
outliers. They need
right,
authentic
instead
Absolutely.
of being
people.
threatened by it, embrace it, because I may give you something different, and I may not. But instead of being threatened by that, embrace it.
Embrace it. Absolutely. I mean, not for nothing. That's what makes us unique. That's what makes us human. That's what makes us, a part of this whole big, beautiful world that we live in, is our
Right.
individuality, our uniqueness, and trying to conform to another person's perspectives on what we should be. Nah, we have to be comfortable with ourselves and do within ourselves, as long as it's in a positive light and we doing it for the greater good, then by all means, so be it.
I'll speak for myself too, is that sometimes that's other people's own insecurities that are playing out,
Oh,
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
Wink, wink,
yeah.
wink.
Yeah.
Yeah, say that again.
Uh,
Say that again. Man.
um, and it takes getting to meet and know authentic people and watch them in their authenticity
Mhm.
and in their power to kind of realize, oh, that was a me thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm gonna switch it up real quick. Dr. Danielle, what do you do for fun when you're not trailblazing and being the first of the first and all of this stuff? How do you I mean, and I'm sure there's a lot of fun and joy in that as well, but what do you do to just relax at the end of the day?
Watch movies.
Okay, what kind of
That is
movies?
like every, no, not what, it's every. I'm a movie buff. Like, I'm in it. No, I've seen every Oscar nominated film at least twice. I think I've seen every film that someone was nominated in the category at least once. So I
Wow.
watch all types of movies. Um, of course I have favorites. My husband gets tired. Like, if he knows it's on, he will, oh, don't switch it. If she hears a song clip, watching that.
Yeah.
My three favorite movies, top three,
Okay.
in no particular order, but these are just three that have stirred me. Glory.
Mm.
Mm,
I,
yes.
I've shown that movie so many times. My students, they're like, seriously, I'm like, listen to me. I know. I can't help. That is one of the most, that one. Dances with Wolves.
Oh,
was the
wow.
second.
Okay.
Deep.
I love that movie. My husband knows if he hears the first chord of that movie, he better switch it.
It's
'Cause we
happening.
shut it down.
Yeah,
House
yeah,
shut down. Watch Dance with Wolves. I'm going upstairs. I'm closing it.
yeah.
I'm on the planes. The third is a movie from the '60s called Cat on a Hot Tin Roof.
Oh, I heard of
Okay.
that.
Oh,
I heard
women
it.
and-
I heard of that. Heard of the movie.
I love that movie for the family dynamic, that trouble in there. But I've seen so many different movies, and I go to the movies all the time by myself. So, my husband will be like, okay, you're allowed, like, he'll give me the nod. You can go to the movies today. What? Listen to me. The drag out. I don't care what I got on.
Going.
Yeah.
I'll find a movie theater way out. And I'm in there for 2-3 movies on a clip. You said I could leave, right? So I don't have to think about anything. No food, no kids, no nothing, laundry. I'm out, gone. And I will just pick the movies and watch them. Because that's how much I love movies so much. I'm surprised I have not been at the Oscars. Yes, I have held many Oscar parties. I'm like addicted. I'm like always in there.
Yeah.
But yes, I am a movie buff. It's either movies or I'm going somewhere near water. So water is cool, is calming for me. It brings me peace.
Same.
So
Yeah.
in New York City, there are lakes and streams and oceans. I
There
go
are.
far out all the time. I just went to the Bay House for lunch with my kids.
Shout out to the Bay House,
Yeah,
man.
I want to
Yeah,
have
Bay
my
House
spot.
is good.
Bay
Bay
House.
House is
That's
good.
what I'm sorry. People don't know about the Bay House. I was like, you should. Because
Yes,
that's
they
what it
should.
cut through. Once you find it, you never forget it, right?
That's
That's
it.
what-
It's finding it. And it's so
Yeah.
neat.
You know how many times before I actually got there, I was like, is it here? Is it back here?
Here?
Is it
Yes.
right here?
But
I was like,
once
I don't think it's
you
back there.
find it,
Yeah.
you never forget. You know it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So we went to the
absolutely.
Bay House today for lunch. We get our little thing. I'm telling you, but it has water.
Yes.
I go to a lot of restaurants with water. I go to every time my family and I vacation, wherever we vacation, it has to have a waterfront view. Period. End of discussion. It brings me peace, calms me down. I like the waves, and that's just always. And I swim, and I have sailing and boating license and all these things. But water always brings me peace.
Oh, okay.
When I'm really agitated, like we just had a weekend this weekend. I drove myself literally to the beach in Brooklyn and just sat there for 10 minutes,
Yes.
got re-regulated the energy, and went back home because that's what I need. Yeah.
You said you got your sailing license. Did that start at Hampton? Because I know that.
Let's start in. Okay, sailing was Hampton, boating was before in high school, and I've maintained both of them since. Yeah.
Dope.
So last question,
Sure.
and then we're gonna ask you to leave a question for the next guest.
Yes, I know. I gotta think of the question. I'm like so intimidated. I'm like, what?
One of our previous guests left a question. La, you have it? You want to read it, or would you like me to do that?
No, okay, so Dr. Williams, our last guest, who was phenomenal, but I'll just give you the question. He asked, what steps are you taking to leave a lasting and godly legacy?
So legacy to me is defined by not necessarily the accolades, but the influence you have on someone's mind. I used to always tell new teachers in my school, think of a teacher that you hated when you were in school, and they all remember it. And I always would say, that's not ever going to be my name. That's never going to be me. You'll never say my name as that answer to that question. That is the legacy that I'm leaving in education. That's the legacy I'm leaving. So the things that I do, I always want to bring people in. How do I leave a lasting legacy? By involving people in the process. Hey, you may not know anything about Middlesex County, Virginia, but I can teach you. So look at this and come with me here. Conversations that are worth something, not just surface.
Yeah.
Being authentic and really talking things out. I have a house in Virginia, and that place is a place of creativity and warmth and really fleshing out. And this July, we're going to do, which is so funny, this July, I am doing a Transforming Leaders to Legacy Makers Conference.
Wow.
Virginia.
Really?
Yes, that's so funny that the question was asked, because that's what I'm doing. It's going to be probably July 13th. It's going to be that week, and I'm going to have executives come, and it's going to be not only going to learn about the history, but be able to start with how are you going to be a legacy maker. Because when I was president of Jack and Jill, I would tell the mothers in my Queens chapter, and I would pin them and say, you are legacy makers. You are creating a legacy for your children. And so legacy making is important. So I do that through not only academia and through the conversations I have in education and in law, but also socially and emotionally. Being present creates a legacy. When you're consistent with someone, that creates a legacy in their mind of your dependability and of your excellence to them. And it does not mean that you've done something astronomical. It just means you were present. Because presence matters in this world that we're living in. Being there for someone. And so that social emotional is what I create in those legacies. And the steps I take are being present, follow through, follow up, talk with kindness, listen more, and ingest the process of what's happened. That's what I do.
Love that.
And you do it so well.
That last part. And taking it,
So,
taking it. Yeah.
so we would like you to leave a question for the next guest.
And this is the question because I'm going through this myself.
Mm.
Name 3 ways that you find peace within.
Okay.
Name 3 ways you find peace within. And that has to, if you want to prompt, that deals with self-care. Just for you, not your family, not anybody else. Just you. I think what we are going through right now, Tamara, is me focusing on just me. You know what I mean? And really understanding the just me. And that's really, really important. So
Yeah. As mothers, we tend to lose that. And as Black women in general, you know, you tend to focus
Right.
on everything else but you.
exactly. That is 100%. 100% all the time.
Well, thank you so much for your time with us today. We are so honored to have you on to be one of the first guests on our podcast. Lala, you have any parting words?
Dr. Williams, I just want to say it's been a true honor and a true pleasure to talk with you, to listen to you, to hear you, and just be in your light. So I just want to say thank you, and to all the work that you've put into community, to family, to self. God bless. God keep you going.
Thank
And
you.
lastly, how can people get in contact with you?
So you can get in contact with me a number of different ways. One, you can talk to me through email. And what I can do is put it in the chat as well, because that's really important to do. But that's website is Stigma Consulting Group, LLC.
Okay.
And if you want to call, because you need a consultation, it's 917-780-2530. You can find me on social media, Stigma_consulting, of course. And you can find me on Facebook as an Instagram at Stigma Consulting Group. So those are all the ways you can find me to be able to get in contact with me if you need help in your school, with teachers, with parents, workshops, communication. Those are the ways you can find me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Danielle.
You're welcome.